In this video, we'll review how to write learning objectives and why they're so important with the QM rubric. Measurable learning objectives are the foundation of Quality Matters standards. Your learning objectives help you align your instruction and your assessment. Objectives that are clear and measurable help you to stay focused on your instructional goals and help you to be sure that you're assessing what you're actually teaching. This is a nice definition of learning objectives that comes from us from Arizona State University online, is that it's a specific skill or knowledge that students will be able to do or demonstrate as the result of completing your course. So learning objectives need to be measurable and observable. And sometimes I think it's a good way to think about learning objectives is to think of indicators that you would consider if you were conducting a research project. What are those things that you can measure? What are those things that you could observe when you're conducting your research? So when you're writing learning objectives, you need to be aware of the tried and true know and understand. It's hard to measure understand and know because those are more thought processes than actually that's something a student can do that you could observe. So let's take a look at some alternatives. So a measurable objective would be, rather than saying understand the history, that students will be able to describe the history, and then they can do that for you in an essay, on a discussion board, in an exam. Also, how about, rather than know the different types of literary genres, students will be able to compare and contrast the different types of literary genres. So that way they can demonstrate how they are able to compare and contrast different types of genres through different types of assessments, written assessments, video, whatever you select. So not only do learning objectives need to be measurable, they need to also match the cognitive level of your course. And by that, we mean the types of thinking skills that are required for your course. So let me just share with you a website that shows us Bloom's taxonomy. And I'll share these slides with you so that you can look at them if you want. In 1956, Benjamin Bloom defined each level of intellectual behavior, and it was updated in the 90s. And here's a graphic that describes both of them. When we look at the lower levels, what are considered the lower levels of Bloom's taxonomy, those are things that students can do that you would expect in an introductory course. So things like being able to remember, being able to define, being able to reproduce information. Whereas if you move up here to the analyzing, evaluating, and creating, those are considered higher order thinking skills. That it's more complex thinking, and those are the types of objectives, those are the types of skills that you're looking for students to develop. The University of North Carolina in Charlotte has come up with a nice online guide to help you write objectives. So let's go to that website. And if you look at this, it tells you the level. It gives you a little bit of a description of that level and some key words that you would have in your objectives. So if you're at the knowledge level, you are asking questions about define, where, relate, select. Whereas if we move up to the higher levels of, let's say, synthesis, you're asking students to build, to choose, to discuss, to change, to elaborate, to improve on. And at the highest level of evaluation, you're asking students to defend an opinion, to compare, to appraise, to prioritize. And this last column is helpful too because it gives you the types of questions that you might be asking students on an assessment. So that gives you a clue of the level of the knowledge that you're expecting them to be able to demonstrate. And finally, the Arizona State University has developed kind of a nice tool to help you build objectives. So if we look at this tool, I'm going to close this out. They have an excellent tutorial, which I recommend that you go through. It's about 6 minutes long. And after you've watched the tutorial, you can select from Bloom's taxonomy the levels, and then it will give you some suggested verbs to help you write your objectives. And then you can just type it in here if you want, or just use these as clues to get you started when you write your measurable objectives. So for example, at the end of this lesson, you'll be able to discriminate. The student will be able to select, separate. So those are some of the questions, or these are some of the objectives that you could write if you're at the analyze level. So let's just take an example here and you decide which one is measurable. I'm going to stop talking to give you a minute to read through them. So the answer is A. Choose from and apply a range of standard, well-established data analysis techniques. So develop an appreciation of, hard to measure. To gain knowledge and appreciation. To gain knowledge is something that they'll be doing during your class, hopefully, but that's hard to measure as well or to observe. So let's take a look at one more example of a learning objective. Explore the various stages of development and understand the similarities and differences among each of the stages. Just take a second to think of how you might replace some of the verbs, explore and understand. Here's an example of how you could change that. Rather than explore, you want them to be able to identify the various stages of development and describe the similarities and differences, or you could ask them to compare and contrast, or you could ask them to apply them in a particular case study. Those are some things to consider when you're writing your learning objectives.